Everybody, this is Sharif right here with We by Black New Africa August. This is our month, a beautiful month um, that we are going to be extremely intentional about planning for the advancement of our community, advancement of our community's life. We understand that we have a month, Black History Month, that is a beautiful month for us. It is a dear month for us, but we understand the complaints within our community that it's not enough. And that's true too. And we shouldn't wait for anyone to change that. That, we should take that in our own hands and make more out of our year for our people. And that's exactly what we're doing when we have New Africa August, that it is a month that recognizes our history, but it's a month that we're going to dedicate for the advancement of our community. And to do that properly this year during the pandemic, we wanted to make sure that we keep everyone safe and not have a convention, physical convention, but we wanted to make sure that the information still got out to our community. We love coming together and being around each other, but we wanted to make sure that we still got information and the education out to our community. And to do that, today we're in our 8th day. We had this is a 31-day series of presentations, webinars, of brilliant people in our community that's out here doing the work. And they are here on the webinar for all of our benefit. So today we have our sister, Trinity Simone, a 17-year-old business guru who's out here making things happen in the field. And welcome, Trinity.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me, Sharif.
Most definitely, most definitely. I know you, I know your family, and as you know, some may not know, we've had extensive conversations. Mm-hmm. And I thought it would be an excellent idea to have someone like you to really speak to our audience. Of course, we're reaching, hundreds of thousands of people. We may be 1 point some million people within our network. But what good is that to have this amount of people if we're not progressing and making anything happen? That if we ever had 1 million people in our presence, what are we going to do with that 1 million people? Where are we going? What's the next move? So this is what this is all about. And I would like for for you to really share to our audience, introduce yourself, your work, and then of course, I got a line of questions that I'm going to ask you. So, but first, introduce yourself.
So as Sharif said, my name is Trinity Simone. I'm 17 years old. I'm the owner of Black Vibe Tribe and also my organization, The Youth Will Be All Right. I created Black Vibe Tribe at 14 years old. It's a lifestyle brand, but I like to say it surpasses being just a brand, and it really is a lifestyle. It's a love letter to my people, an ode to my ancestors, and a reclamation of self, to be honest with you. My main goal through creating the brand was to connect and to love and to uplift and build with those deriving from the African diaspora. So building within our community, collaborating, really pushing the importance of unity, as you stated, uniting together and conquering anything that's formed against us, because as we know, no weapon can prosper against this melanated skin we carry. And so, 14 years old, I created this with, of course, the support and guidance of my parents, who now make up the dream team that is Black Vibe Tribe. They are an extension of this business, of myself. Really and truly where the foundation came from is my parents instilled heavily in me the importance of our rich history and where we derived from. And all of that fuels us in our resiliency and our strength and our might. And so, how can you not be inspired by that? So just taking inspiration from my people and the leaders we descend from and where we come from, I knew that I wanted to add to that legacy and to that rich culture and history that we come from. And I wanted to make something that truly represented us in all of our greatness and all of our excellence. So that's how Black Vibe Tribe was born.
That's it. We all go home now. I don't think there's nothing else to say. That's excellent, sister. We know of your work. We're proud of you. We're proud of your family. You know, you have a beautiful father, a beautiful mother, and you know, I want to talk about that, right? Because it's extremely important in this time that we're living in for us to be real with each other and real as a community. And what does that mean? Um, you know, the data tells us that if a child is born in a two-parent household with a mother and a father, that they're much more likely to go off to college, much more likely not to be impoverished, much more likely not to be in prison or to commit a crime. And here you are today, as articulate as you are, to stand before us or to sit before us, and to be able to talk about your vision, your mission, your purpose, and you have not even mentioned about money or profits. How is that? Like explain that to us about the importance of putting your purpose before profit.
Of course. Well, as you said, I was fortunate enough to be brought up in a two-parent household. So when you see me, it truly is because of them and what they've taught me and what they've poured into me and it's instilled in me. They are my fuel. They're what keeps me running. They are why I am who I am and what I do. This business, Black Vibe Tribe, I'm not just at the face or forefront of it. When you hear Black Vibe Tribe, when you see Black Vibe Tribe, this is a family-run business, and we'll dig much deeper into that as the conversation continues. But getting to the question that you asked, my brand was specifically founded and being built because of a purpose. Money was never the objective or the goal for me. And again, that's something my parents have taught me, is that the money will come when you do great things, the great things for your community, where you're able to positively impact many. So that's not something that I've ever chased after, or that was never the goal. I feel like when you do found a business in purpose, no pandemic, no virus, no, situation can take you down, because this is greater than just you, than just one person. It's made to impact our whole community in a positive way.
That's right, sister. That's right. You know, God is always in control. We understand too that there are individuals within our community that are going through some extremely trying times right now.
Of course.
And we want you all to know that although we stand or sit in front of you or present in front of you all today, with the shea butter on and, excited as we are aware that many of you all are going through some difficult times, no doubt about it. But we're here to give us all inspiration. And I believe that, there are forces in the world that want to, knock off the nose of our people, kill our inspiration. And I think that, having individuals like yourself, having individuals like yourself presented in front of our community is inspiration. So I know you are aware of that, but I want to really put that out there to you, that's exactly what you are. Like right now, there are hundreds of people right now that are inspired, that's probably running and saying, hey, I got a daughter that's 17. Come listen to this girl speak right now. Come on. And if you're not doing that, please do that. Please do that. Call your children, bring them to the camera, and know that we have a sister in front of us that really is going to do some amazing things. And we want to make sure that we're in position to support you all the way throughout. And you know that from me, just over time, you know that you got that. So Black Vibe Tribe, the Youth Will Be All Right. Tell us about the Youth Will Be All Right. What is that? Is it a nonprofit? Is it for-profit? What is it?
It's a nonprofit organization that I founded, and my main mission with that is to amplify the voices of incarcerated youth through the donation of composition notebooks. And I always choose to say I amplify the voices of them, because so often when we do talk about those who are incarcerated, especially incarcerated youth, we say that we want to give them the voice too. But what we don't understand is they already have voices. They've just been silenced and hushed in this system, in the criminal justice system that unfairly has, put them in this position where they're not able to thrive. And so when I give them this notebook, when I donate these notebooks to the detention facilities they find themselves, I simply want to give them this platform, this tool where their voices can be amplified, where they know that no matter what they face in that system, that there's someone out here who wants to hear them tell their story. So someone says what you have to say is important.
I have a friend who, was incarcerated, I believe for about 4 years. We grew up together, and we moved to Atlanta together. It was like my brother. All of my childhood experiences, he shared that with me. But when he was incarcerated, he wrote, I believe, 6 books, 6 books. And when he was freed from that physical shackle, he went on to sell out the MGM in DC. And I believe no less than 2 years, but it came from what he wrote in prison. So I believe in this, and in fact, I want to connect you both, but I believe in this. I know he believes in this. And, but I wanted to ask you, what are some of these things that the youth are writing about? What are some of these things that they're writing about?
Of course. So because I donate to incarcerated youth and they are younger, there's a sense of privacy that they have to, like, I don't see the works they're able to create. So I can only imagine what they're able to voice or express. And, to be honest with you, I don't need to see what they're creating. I'm simply giving them the platform to use it how they see fit. The importance is that they have the ability to express themselves. And, as I've worked with these different detention centers, I've found that for some, it has helped their mental health, these kids' mental health, of just being able to release all that they feel. Especially in a situation that's so confining to their spirits, to, physically, their ing feels up, but, that has confined them in a situation, just being able to express themselves.
Exactly. It's definitely freeing, to be able to write and to be able to take your mind somewhere else other than your concentration, of course. So Black Vibe Tribe, did this come before the Youth Will Be All Right? And this is all right, like, all writing.
All right, ALLWRITE, yes.
Exactly. So the Youth Will Be All Right. Was that first? Did that come second? Like, did Black Vibe Tribe come first? Which one?
Black Vibe Tribe came first. I created Black Vibe Tribe when I was 14 years old. I created the Youth Will Be All Right when I was 16 years old. So the Youth Will Be All Right came after Black Vibe Tribe.
You just created the Youth Will Be All Right.
Pretty recently, yes. Yeah.
Definitely. So, okay. Was that, you were 14, but was that a part of the strategy to create a for-profit first and then a nonprofit?
I would like to say that it was, that's what I was meant to do. But at 14 years old, when I created Black Vibe Tribe, I didn't even have the idea or the vision for the Youth Will Be All Right at the time. I was so focused on the creation of Black Vibe Tribe. But writing was always something that was very prominent in my life. It's always been a passion of mine. I always like to say I'm a creative at heart. So being able to write, whether that be spoken word, whether that be poetry, music, I've always just had a pencil in my hand or a notebook at my side, just jotting down my ideas and thoughts. And so with that said, I've also had an increased interest as I grew older in the systems of mass incarceration and how intertwined and messy and greedy that industry is. And so just seeing how so many have been negatively impacted by this system, I knew I wanted to dig deeper and dive deeper into how it's specifically negatively impacted our community. Mass incarceration, I say, is a pandemic in itself. And so I knew I wanted to combine those two passions of writing and the creativity that I was able to express when I was allowed to do that, and then mass incarceration and the effects of it, and kind of intertwine those two and positively impact a demographic of individuals.
They create these systems, and that's exactly what they are. They're systems. And with systems, there comes structure. Mm-hmm. So really, these people, these organizations, these entities that work against us, they still understand structure. They understand systems.
Yes.
And they understand how to keep you in those systems and those structures for years. It makes it extremely difficult for you to get out of those systems and structures.
It really is a business in itself.
It's a business in itself. So with business, and when we're talking big business, the prison, the privatization of prisons is a big business. With business, how important do you view systems and having systems, and what roles have you taken to build out your own systems within your business? Because we're going to talk about your business, what you're doing, who you're impacting, what product you have, what services you're offering. We want to talk about that, but let's talk about the systems.
So first and foremost, when I think of systems and directly correlate that to our community, I believe systems are the foundation in which generational wealth comes from. Because if we have no systems in place for our businesses, how are we supposed to efficiently pass this down, pass the baton down to another individual when we don't have any systems in place for them to follow. And so that's why I feel systems are heavily important as it comes to our community. Now, for me, during COVID, during this pandemic, during the movement of Buy Black, when there was this uptick and influx of orders, even during the brutalities and murders that happened to our people, we had, at the time, I was in a position before COVID where I had a steady stream of good orders that were manageable. And so with all of this influx of orders, when I'm going through transitions with fulfillment and operation, and then all of a sudden I'm overwhelmed with, 500 orders, 600 orders, 700, and just this increasing amount of volume, I had to learn how to implement and build and put in place sustainable systems that I could scale as my business grew. And so moving through a transition where I was doing all in-house fulfillment at a time, but then I'm now working with a fulfillment company who's supposed to take on my, inventory and volume and orders and fulfill everything. I had some issues with that, which we'll also talk about and dig into, but I had to implement systems in place that allowed me to maneuver all that was going on at this time and to be able to scale this business in a sustainable and efficient way.
There's a statistic that says that over 50% of Black-owned businesses close indefinitely due to COVID-19. What methods have you taken to prevent your business from shutting down? I know clearly you're online, right? But just beyond that, I'm sure you experienced some setbacks because of COVID. I think every business has.
There were so many setbacks and barriers and obstacles. And what I always like to tell people or say about COVID is that at the beginning of this, I had people who I knew questioning whether my business would survive this or not. Yeah. So with that said, I had to, again, my parents have always taught me about the strength and the resiliency of our ancestors. We come from a bloodline of survivors. So not surviving this pandemic wasn't an option for me. And I also say that, going back to the importance of systems, when you create systems during a time like this, during the pandemic, you're creating ultimately pandemic proof systems. So if this were ever to happen again, we already have that strong foundation we're relying on. But like you said, there were some setbacks and some barriers and some shifts and transitions that I had to make that allowed my business to grow. So one, COVID hit, and that shut a lot of, storefronts and businesses down. A lot of people were at home, online shopping, because that's what we were. We were in front of our screens and all of that. I had the benefit of being an e-commerce business, a business that was solely online. So that allowed people to come to my store, still be able to purchase, still be able to buy. But at the same time, we were facing shipping delays and people were losing their jobs. So even the bigger businesses that control our mailing systems weren't as efficient as they once were before. And so at that point, when we had shipping delays against us, the own problems within the United States Postal Service, I had to be completely transparent and communicate with my tribe, my consumer base, because we were all in a time that was very uncertain. We had never gone through this before. So you know how people say communication is key? I believe constant, transparent communication is crucial when it comes to those who you operate in business with, your consumers, your tribe of individuals. So as I was going through this, as the uptick of orders started coming in, as I started seeing that, okay, inventory is taking a little longer to get to me because the manufacturers are having shipping delays, the mailing services are having delays. So I had to write my tribe in constant email communication, utilize my social media platforms in saying, we've hit uncertain times. In our society, this is how we're going about figuring it out. These are the shifts we're making. These are the transitions we're making. And I found that being transparent with my audience allowed them to extend grace to me, to be more gracious in the communication. And again, 99.999% of my tribe are very supportive, are very embracing of what I do and what I stand for. So when you're just upfront and saying, this is what I'm facing, these are the delays, your items may take a little bit longer to get to you because of them. When you're honest like that, people can appreciate honesty. People can appreciate transparency. And so I felt like that was something that allowed me to further grow and scale and thrive amidst everything that was happening around us. And at the same time, after COVID, while COVID was popping up, I was again going through this transition of a fulfillment company had reached out to me and said, we want to take on your fulfillment. And again, I had learned the importance of setting systems, of delegating, of being able to release certain aspects of your business to everybody. Because as entrepreneurs, we love to wear many hats, but at times we spread ourselves a little too thin. And so I had looked into allowing them to take over my fulfillment. Long story short, my business slowly started, my structure, my systems, the things that allowed my business to thrive slowly started declining because I found out that fulfillment center didn't have the manpower to take on the influx of orders, didn't have the operations in place that would allow my business to thrive. So I started seeing the standard that we operated on slowly begin to decline because they weren't able to meet what we were asking after assuring us many, many times they were able to. So while we're getting in May, like for an example, in May, we may have had 700 orders. In June, now we have 2,750. So we start to see this, immense incline of how many of the order volume, but they can't keep up with it. Right. So again, the transparency of saying we moved into a warehouse space. We trusted these fulfillment center with our operations. We're now moving back in-house, so allowing my customers to get a glimpse into what we were dealing with, but also with that transition, that we basically brought everything, inventory, machinery, equipment, all of that into this fulfillment center for them to take over our operations. So it wasn't easy. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of shifts being made where you think you're going to delegate a huge part of your business to an individual, but now you have to take it back. So there was a lot of behind the scenes struggling, even watching the quality of product not be as great at the beginning of it because this fulfillment center couldn't take on the amount of work we were getting at that time. So of course there were setbacks. Of course there were barriers, and it taught me a lot of lessons as an entrepreneur as well. Of you have to be able to quickly adapt. You have to be able to thoroughly vet those who you bring on board your business. You have to be able to fire fast if necessary and make the appropriate changes to allow yourself to thrive. You have to have those proper systems in place. And so that's what we did. We quickly adapted and we brought everything back in-house with 3,000 plus orders to fulfill. It was me and my parents. I had an amazing support system and a team. I was flying family out at one point. My grandmothers had come down helping me with my orders. My siblings had come down to help me with my orders. My little brothers were printing out shipping labels and breaking down boxes. So it was a family effort. Wow. And that's what allowed me, that was a lot of what allowed me to succeed and overcome the COVID and this pandemic and everything else that was happening.
Wow. Unbelievable.
A lot. I know.
Unbelievable.
A whole story.
And I know a lot of people are feeling this way, the same way I'm feeling. Like she's 17, that's crazy. Like you're very aware of just everything. That's amazing. Now, first let me say this, as you were speaking, I felt like you were talking directly to me, right? I was like, gracious, like, she talking directly to me. Like it's an issue that we have within our own company, honestly, is communication and transparency. You have to battle with how much you should share, who's listening, who's watching, especially when you are not moving just a business, but a movement. You want to be extremely careful, but the people are due that communication. And I'm hearing that from you. I'm hearing that exactly from you. And, from hearing you say that, I could promise you, within the coming months, the next major position, the next hire will be someone in PR for us, to really be able to handle that. Because I think that, that you could have something extremely powerful, something, powerful in a sense of, something that could really truly liberate our community in many ways. But if we do not, elevate ourselves from the stigma that is placed on the Black community in business, period, poor customer service, lack of communication, lack of transparency, et cetera, all the things you just mentioned,
Of course.
Then no matter how great our intentions are, no matter how pure, we are or innocent we are, we will fall victim and really, be the cause of our own demise. So,
and I would also like to say, while I can sit here and say, we were on top of customer communication or being transparent, there was still that 0.1%. I said 99.99. So there was still that 0.1% of individuals who, were very, did write some nasty emails in my direction and things. And that just comes with the territory. But you also have to address that with a sense of grace and say, I'm willing to give a 100% refund, fully your way. Because again, we were in times where there were delays and there, were things that we were battling, and we can't win every single battle with every single customer. And so again, just taking it all into perspective of, there are going to be times where you can't be on top of it every single time, on 100 every single time. And so I think as entrepreneurs, we have to extend ourselves grace as well, and understanding that we can't spread ourselves too thin. We attempt to wear every hat and do every job. And so I think that's important to know as well.
Let me say this, for all those that are watching right now, because all of the information you're giving us, I even feel like, it's like a session, for consultation. It's so rich. It's very rich. I'm telling you, it's very rich. And it's just rolling off your tongue. But there are people that are listening that are like, man, like I have a consultant and I'm not even getting that. Right. So I'm going to urge everyone, who's listening and who will listen to this in the future, that you all go and support this sister. Sister, tell us how people can, we got more questions, but I want people to just have this information now, because we could shop and talk at the same time. It's possible.
Of course. We're multitaskers.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get 1,000 orders for her right now. What is your IG? What is your website? Where can people go and purchase your products? Where would they go?
So the website is www.blackvibetribe.com. You can find us on social media with that same handle on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, Black Vibe Tribe. For those who want to follow my personal, I'm on Instagram at MS Trinity Simone. And then for those who want to follow my organization, it's The Youth Will Be All Right. Again, that spelling is ALLWRITE, which you can also find on Instagram. And we have a website as well, which is theyouthwillbealright.org.
Excellent, excellent. So I want to kind of get into, the family business conflict that is real for everyone. You want to bring on family, but sometimes, as we see in many businesses, especially I see it in a lot of Black businesses, but everyone has these issues, trust me. So you want to bring them on to help and to work with you. But there aren't too many businesses that have leaders in that business that says, I'm going to bring on my family, but I'm also going to give them the proper training. I'm going to invest in them. So if you have members in your family, you just don't throw them all on a team. You have to, you don't just put a person who never touched a computer in marketing, right? Or whatever, you just don't put them in that area. And then when they fail, you curse them and kick them in the butt and just say, I don't want to work with family ever again. Let me go hire the white man to do my job. No, you have to give them the proper training, and I believe that having family to work with you and on your team is extremely important. But you're thriving, you work with your family. I know you all have experienced some sort of conflict, we don't have to get into that. But how do you navigate around these type of things? Like, how do you navigate?
It's a running joke between me and my parents that we should just have a camera following us around to capture everything we go through. It's an interesting dynamic, to say the least, but without them, Black Vibe Tribe wouldn't be the way it is. It wouldn't be as successful. It wouldn't be thriving in that aspect. But I feel like family is a business in itself, and figuring out the operations that are going to allow it to thrive is very, very important. And so just a little bit of background about my family. My father was in corporate America for a very long time, and I was actually able to retire him via the route of this business, which was, I was excited about that. But yeah, so he had a corporate America background, and my mother was always had a very entrepreneurial spirit, and ran many businesses as I grew up. So just watching that was inspiring as well. And so when I did want to start this business, I had my father, who had his corporate America background, the knowledge that he was able to offer me in just the structures, the systems, the operations, that was the language he spoke. I didn't speak that language at 14 years old. My mother, she was very good with marketing. She was the foundation of now how we run our customer service. My mother is very customer service oriented and knew the game of marketing and how to, advertise to individuals. And so I was able to not only utilize their knowledge, and we all come together and have this structure within business, but I also learned from them. I will always say they are my most appreciated counsel, and they were my mentors before I started, and they will always be my mentors. Through anyone I meet. So I feel like we had to figure out what we were good at. Again, I was a creative. I was able to create these designs and to do the printing and to, build the website out. But I also know I needed someone who was good at operations. I needed someone who was well-versed in marketing and customer service. And so how we were able to come together and build what Black Vibe Tribe now is amazing. Like, I find that, inspiring just as I'm looking at it and explaining it to you. And so again, there are conflicts. There are, this is my mother, this is my father. I am a 17-year-old child, but in attempting to run this business, there are the struggles that you face. But again, it's also just an opportunity to learn, to understand the importance of strategies and structure. As I grow up, I'd always say I'd much rather work with my family than to work with strangers and face these same conflicts and struggles. So it's been an interesting journey, but I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. That's what I would like to say.
Man, I love that. That is excellent. That's excellent. So I want the audience to begin to ask questions. You all have children that are in it, early teenage years. This sister started her business when she was 14 years old. She's now 17. And as you can see, she's very, very much aware of, of what she has, where she's going. And I want to talk about that. Let's talk about, as you all prepare these questions, let's talk about where you're going. Where is Black Vibe Tribe going?
It's constantly expanding. I have so many plans for how it will expand and the expansion of it. I know that the common theme throughout everything will always be those pillars, the foundations of what my tagline is: to connect, to love, to uplift, to build. So whatever I do, it will always tie back to those pillars for our community. It will always positively impact my people. And I feel like no matter what avenue we take of how we're going to expand, that's going to be the intention behind the expansion. So as of right now, I'm creating a subscription box service that will feature an array of Black Vibe Tribe products, but will also highlight another Black-owned business every single month. So that, again, I'm instilling the pillar of connecting. We will connect. I will be loving the businesses that we put in this box. I will be continuously uplifting. And as I'm bringing them in the box, or as I'm exposing them to the people, I'm building up our community, because all it takes, all I want, the biggest intention I can have of doing this is someone to open the box and fall in love with the product of the business we featured. And now we're beginning to circulate the Black dollar again in our community.
That's right. That's exactly right. All those that know us, that follow us, the businesses that are with us, please reach out to this sister. I know you probably have like an application or something that you need to go through. Please, you all go through that. Let's get your products in this box that she has. This is excellent. I'm amped up. I could just run a mile right now, nonstop. So let me kind of go back into as I mentioned before we got on the call. We'll start off very general. We'll work into the specifics, and we'll kind of go back to to some things that are really general. What advice would you give to a lot of the younger people that are listening? And why am I asking that question? A lot of our youth, they're in troubling times too right now. They're exposed to things that children should not be exposed to. You have, I was, seeing this young sister, very young, that she's seen a police and she just went into some, anxiety, and she just almost collapsed, shaking, crying. But these are things that young children just should not be exposed to. We're able to watch a man murdered, on camera, right? But I want these type of platforms here, whereas that we could unplug from that, connect with individuals like you, and start to plan and build for our life as a whole. I could hear how, you work on yourself, right? We could clearly see that you work on yourself. You're not just totally in your business. You have time to study, to write. It looks like you definitely take care of yourself. Tell us about that. Tell us about, yourself personally. What are some of the things that you do to help build yourself up so that you can give to others?
So the reason I started the organization, The Youth Will Be All Right, as I said, I've always had this passion for writing. And with that, I've always had a passion for words. So reading and writing, those are my outlets that allow me to learn, to build on myself, to be exposed and garner more knowledge. I'll always say that I've been always inspired by the revolutionary greats that came before me, whether it be the Malcolm X, the James Baldwin, Assata Shakur, Gwendolyn Brooks, who were able to use their words to spark their generation or just spark their people and move them to action. And so, I'm an avid reader. I'm constantly looking to, be exposed to something I had no knowledge of before. So I'm constantly reading, constantly writing. I would say those are my main two sources to really that allow me to work on myself.
Now, for those that are, anything that you say right now, it's not even, I don't even want to put it in a teenage box.
Yeah.
Let's not even do that, right? We could talk about, like, if for all those that are listening, if you have children in their teenage years, definitely get this information to them, let them listen to this. But for all of us, who are listening, what advice would you give to rise from the ashes during this pandemic? What advice, what are the steps that we need to take? And of course, every business is different too.
Of course.
But just generally speaking, what is some of the advice that you would give?
So as I said earlier in the call, as I had individuals who questioned whether or not my business would survive, I'm always rooted in the spirit of my ancestors, and I allow that to encourage me. So before anything else, just know that you have the ability to survive the times we're going through right now. We are a resilient, strong people that can overcome anything we put our minds to. So again, just speaking those words over your business: I can survive this, I will get through this. Creating sustainable systems that you can scale. So systems are the foundation of generational wealth. Like I've said before, that's what will allow us to scale these businesses and pass down the baton and see that generational wealth be brought to fruition. I would also like to say that when we speak on essential businesses, we said essential businesses are the ones that would thrive during this time. And many would see my brand that sells t-shirts and luggage as not essential. It can't cure the pandemic. It can't cure a virus. It can't do anything with our physical health. But my brand was essential to our mental health. And the times where we lost Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, to senseless killings and murders of our people fled to or came to my brand, where we were able to voice our frustrations or our anger or even just our pride for what as Black people. And so I felt like it was essential to our mental health. And I felt that it allowed people to let their voices be heard without even saying a word, because the statement was right there on their chest. Again, constant communication is crucial. Be honest, be transparent with your consumer base. That will allow just this flow of transparency and understanding and grace between you and the people who are ultimately investing in you, who ultimately are believing in you and rooting you on. Those are your biggest supporters, and those are the people who are feeding into and buying what you're selling. So those are some of the key points. And I also want to say to those who are in business, those are entrepreneurs, don't forget to put your breathing mask on. Don't forget to take care of yourself while you're building your business, while you're scaling it, while you're going through your transitions or shifting or all of that. You have to protect your mental health as a business owner. You can't spread yourself too thin. When you're able to delegate, hopefully those systems that you're building will allow you to do so. So those are some of the things that just come off the top of my mind that I can suggest.
And you're technically, you're still in school?
Yes, I'm a senior this year.
Okay, so.
And I'm homeschooled. I'm not in public school. I'm
Okay. In your homeschool, okay. So it's a little different, but we'll get into that. Someone had asked the question, like, what advice would you give to, young people who would like to start a business and manage that business while they're attending school? Like, what advice would you give to them?
To be completely honest with you, I've been blessed to have a strong support system. So even when I still have my classes to attend, still have essays to write, and still have this work to complete, I've had this support system that was able to supplement what I wasn't able to do. So if we did have an influx of orders, it was at a time, and I was still in school, it was more so of an all hands on deck scenario where I had my parents to help come in and supplement that. Again, I would say, for those who are in school or have any other obligations that they're tied to, it's really just about balancing that time and creating a schedule for yourself that where you're not overworked or overstressed, but you still have that equal balance of I'm able to begin building, starting smaller, scaling until I have that yin and yang almost of balance.
Excellent. So I want to encourage everyone, to write down your questions here in the chat. If you have any questions, Rashid, if there's some questions that we have even on Facebook Live, let's feed those to the sister so that she can, be able to answer those questions. Now, I used to be a licensed insurance agent in DC when I was 19 years old. And, things were really well. And I read this book, I was 18, I think I just turned 18, yeah. I read this book, The Miseducation of the Negro, Carter G. Woodson. And in that book, he talked about how many of us go off to college and we abandon the work of our families. If your father or your mother was a shoe shiner, or if they were a farmer, that we would go to school and study, I don't know, something else, something not related to that at all. And he did a study that showed that those who participate in work that is related to their parents' work, then they are much more likely to be successful. Now, I was already at an age where I was experiencing success, and I was on a trajectory that I thought that I would even surpass my father's work. And he was a painter, painting homes, interior, exterior painting. And I realized that that wasn't the goal. That the goal was to establish, a family business, right? That's the real goal, to establish a family business. So I walked away from, like, literally abandoned that whole, job as a licensed insurance agent. And I went on to start a painting company. And, my father, we initially had a fallout. It was an initial fallout, typical Black stuff, right? like, y'all know what I mean. Let's be real. So typical Black stuff. But, we had a fallout. And, he mentioned to me after that, he said, you know what, you go ahead on and do it yourself. And he said that, but when you need some help, just let me know. And I don't think he knew how much that meant for me. So I did just that. I went on and started a painting company, in DC. And that was back in 2012. And ever since then, me and my father have been working together with that painting company in DC. So I believe in that. I believe in working with family. And there are a lot of challenges that, that we may have individually with working with other people, but we have to be committed to working together, to be understanding, to being patient. And I wanted to kind of get into, and I went to more of a private school. It's not the same as homeschool, but you still are, you're in an environment that's sort of, there's more control.
Of course.
it's more controlled. Your parents are very aware of what you're studying, your lessons, et cetera. The homeschool, your homeschool, is it one of your parents giving you the lessons? Is it, are you at you're 17 now and, it looks like you can handle the whole thing yourself. Is it just that you're studying what you want to study? Is it free? Are you a part of some sort of curriculum? How's that?
I am a part of a curriculum. I have done an online program since I was in 6th grade. My parents homeschool themselves, my little brothers, but I actually do an online program and use their curriculum.
Okay, excellent. Okay, cool. That's what's up. All right. So what recommendations and resources would you give for creating sustainable systems in your business? So we talked about this a little earlier, right? We talked about this a little earlier, but let's drive it home. When we talk about systems, for example, right? When we got started, it was just me. For the first 3 months, I studied how to build a website. We built the first WeBuyBlack.com. I built the first WeBuyBlack.com. It just, it worked. It worked. People was able to check out. It worked.
It served a purpose.
Yeah, it served the purpose, right? It got the point out to the people like, yo, we could do this, right? After a year, I hired the first person, for customer service. That was the first person I brought on was customer service. The next year, we remained that way. The next year, we brought on a person in social media to keep the word out, marketing, et cetera. Fast forward today, we have about 15 people on staff. Systems and building out these systems, I know it helped us build out the business. Most times, or a lot of times when I talk with people, they say, man, I want to make $1 billion, but yet they don't want to work with people. They don't want to work with people. They don't want to, they're not trusting enough to allow people to share their password of their Instagram accounts or share their passwords to the bank account to run their finances, et cetera. How are you navigating around that? Being vulnerable, being trusting, opening up your platform for people to run that for you, because obviously, as you mentioned, you can't do it all yourself. So
that is very true. At this time, though, I am again gonna say that right now the team is me and my parents. I don't have the employees or the individuals who work with me control my social media. It is just us. I do want to speak to the question a little more, though, and say that systems can be big and they can be small. So if I look at the United States Postal Service and how they do deliveries, I can look at a larger system and I can look at their whole route. So how they're able to, delegate to their different employees what routes they're going to be on. That's a larger system that has more complicated steps. I can also look in and hone in on a smaller system of when they pull up to my door, how they get the mail, put it in my mailbox and go on. That's a smaller system with smaller steps. So when you look to implement systems in your business, you have to, I think, first find the inefficiency. So see where you can strengthen the foundation of your business. So again, for me, it was fulfillment. Fulfillment had a lot of complicated steps to it, something I had to hone in on, something I had that inefficiencies existed in. So I had to hone in on that and see what the process would look like. And I broke that down into different steps. So for the first step, I would focus in on inventory. What it looked like to order inventory? What it looked like to, branch out and sort it, where the hoodies went with the hoodies, the sweatshirts went with the sweatshirts, etc. So that in itself is one part of a system that's very expansive, that's very large. I would move to inventory, to printing, how, everything had to be precise, where my, transfers and designs would go. So it's simply about finding the inefficiencies, detailing how you plan to fix them, and implementing that system into your business. And again, I just want to add, you should also be documenting these systems, writing down the steps of them, all of that, because if we are going to pass this on to a sibling, to our child, we have to show them or teach them or explain to them how we did it. And even if you don't have anyone you're going to pass it down to, simply to document it for yourself, employees you may bring on board, just being able to document that process, to write it down, to do that step-by-step breakdown, it will be more beneficial to the business you're building. So hopefully that answers the question.
I think it definitely answers the question. Family meetings, business meetings. I know you all have to have them.
Yes, every Thursday. Every Thursday, we're sitting down and discussing the inner workings of the business.
Okay, how does that meeting normally run? Like what happens during that meeting?
So because we can anticipate that every meeting will be held on a Thursday, if we find something during the week that we want to speak on, so if there is an inefficiency in the business that we have to create a system for, if it is, simply a question of, okay, how can we strengthen how we may order inventory or something, just a topic, we will keep note of it, we will keep track of it, and when Thursday comes around, we can speak on it, we can discuss it, we can find the solutions to it, and then again, we have our own lane, so to speak, so I can look to my father and say, okay, let's discuss operations, any updates, he can go through those. I can look to my mother and say and talk about customer service and how that's running, or our marketing and what our aspirations for it are. So we're not only talking about present tense, Black Vibe Tribe, we're also discussing, okay, what's the future of this business? What's the long-term goal? How are we steadily, day by day, working towards reaching it?
Definitely. Okay, excellent. That's what's up. Yeah. So we have our company meetings on Monday. You have your Thursday. Everybody got their own day, whatever works.
Everyone got a day. Yes.
Is there a reason why you all chose Thursday?
I have no idea. It's just we've just chosen Thursday, and that's what we've stuck to.
Yeah, we chose Monday because we were like when you first come in off the weekend, it's like, okay, let us know what your issues were last week.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know, what your goals are for this week. That way when the next Monday comes, we will fix all of these issues. And then hopefully also people will hit their actual goals too.
Right.
Okay. So, but you all just sort of
I think it happened to be on a Monday or a Tuesday where when we first started this, we said we need to have a meeting. And I think one of us said, let's just do a meeting this Thursday. And ever since it was a Thursday thing. Yes.
Thursday's an excellent day. Mm-hmm. It's before you really close out the week, but you all are in the same house. So business really never stops for you all, right?
It really never stops. And even as I would like to say, we'll save our questions for a Thursday meeting, or we'll save what we want to address on a Thursday meeting. We have random meetings all the time. If we're driving somewhere, we'll start talking about the business. So it's always coming up. It's a part of our life now. Something that I find hilarious is that when we were going through the transition of, having all the fulfillment in this warehouse and in this space to transitioning back in-house, our house has become the Black Vibe Tribe headquarters. There's inventory and t-shirts over here, printing equipment. And I always tell my mom, I'm going to get your house back and restore it and put it back to how it was. But right now it's just overflown with, product, and it really is our headquarters over here.
I love it, man. So, I think that, we covered a lot. I think that a lot of people got to know you as a person. Mm-hmm. Everyone has the links. If not, then we want everyone to go to blackvibetribe.com, www.blackvibetribe.com, and to support this sister and follow her on Instagram. Give them all of your Instagram and your social handle.
Okay, so you can find my business at Black Vibe Tribe on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And of course, the website is blackvibetribe.com. You can find my organization, The Youth Will Be All Right, at Instagram. Also, its website, theyouthwillbealright.org. And again, all right is ALLWRITE. And then you can find my personal at Miss Trinity Simone, MS, Trinity Simone, SIMONE. And that's on Instagram as well.
Excellent. Well, it was a pleasure, absolute pleasure having you.
Thank you so much for having me and to be a part of this.
Most definitely. Is there anyone, family, you want to shout out, send
out?
Of
course. I know my parents are on here tuned in and all of that. Without them, there would be no Black Vibe Tribe. Thank you for being my support system. Thank you for instilling all that you have in me. And thank you for fueling me on a daily. To my siblings who were, who did fly out here and helped me hold it down and, keep operations going. I appreciate you so much. And I'll forever say that. And then my grandmothers as well who came. I couldn't put them on the heavy machinery or anything, but they still played their part in fueling this business. So I just want to thank them as well. And then lastly, my tribe who, they have fueled me. They are who was able to get me through the tough times that I had during the pandemic and dealing with the transitions and the shifts and everything, the messages and emails and outpour of love that I received from them, they brought me to tears some days. It was so sweet. And they were sending me care packages. We really do have that tribe mentality at Black Vibe Tribe, of that it takes a village, and they are my village. They are my tribe. They are my family. They're an extension of this business. And so I am forever grateful for them as well.
And I know some of your mentors. So is it anybody you wanted to, you know?
And you, of course. I said to him before we started this call that when I first met him,
No.
I know, but still, I do want to say that when we first got on this call, I told him that when I first met him, we sat and talked for a while, and immediately it was just, we hit it off, and he has become an extension of the family, of the tribe. I consider him in the We Buy Black family, family. I consider you a big brother. So, yeah.
Okay, well, blessings, blessings, definitely. We appreciate it, So I really want to, do something a little different. And, I want to make a prayer for you. I want to ask God to bless you, to strengthen you. And no matter who we are, whether we are Muslim, Christian, Hebrew, whatever it may be, even if we don't go by any particular religion, I'm asking everyone to make a prayer for this sister, to keep her in your prayers and to support her, like with our dollars, with our money, let's support her, all the way. So much success to you, sister. You got us. You will always have us. Keep doing excellent work, and may God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Catch you later. All right. Peace.
Bye.